Greetings and welcome to the Seattle Law of One podcast. Today's episode is about the dance. One of the very first things the entity known as Ra said in their very first contact with the LNL research back in 1981 was that we are dancing in a ballroom with no material and that we are dancing thoughts. And with their uniquely extraterrestrial sense of humor, Ra went on to describe our style of dancing as eccentric. Since then, the entities known as Ra and Quo have used the words dance and dancing hundreds of times to describe the way that we make our way through third density consciously or unconsciously, trying to do whatever it is that we came into this incarnation to do. What does all this mean? And how can those of us who are rhythmically challenged, shall we say, learn to dance more gracefully through our third density incarnations? Let's find out. My name is Jonathan Tong. I'm facilitator for the Seattle Law of One study group. We can be found in the list of study groups at the LNL research page shown on your screen. We do also have a Facebook group, and we do meet on Zoom twice a week, Tuesdays from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time, Saturdays 8 to 10 a.m. Pacific time. You don't have to live in Seattle or anywhere near Seattle to join our Facebook group or our Zoom sessions. Anyone who's interested and available is welcome to join. Just contact us at seattlelaw1@gmail.com. If you'd like to get on our mailing list, we send out emails once a week with Zoom links and information on what we are talking about that week. We do also have a YouTube channel where we keep recordings of previous podcast episodes, as well as recordings of our monthly Q&As with Jim McCarty. Just go to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button if you'd like to get notifications when we upload new videos, and contact us at seattlelaw1@gmail.com if you'd like to join any of our Q&A sessions with Jim. Otherwise, as mentioned, today the topic is the dance. Panelists, let's go ahead and introduce yourselves to the viewers. Let them know who you are and where you're calling from, starting with Katrina.
Hi, I'm Katrina. I'm calling from just outside of Portland, Oregon, and just sending love and light and so excited to talk about dancing.
We're so excited to have you here. It seems like it's been forever. Michael?
My name is Michael. I'm calling from Austin, Texas, and man, this is the one this is just one I'm so excited about too. So yeah, let's get to it.
Super excited to have you on, sending our love and light to all our brothers and sisters in Austin. Sonia?
Hey, I'm Sonia. I'm calling from Olympia, Washington, and I'm so happy to be joined with you all on such a wonderful topic. Can't wait to get into it.
So happy to have you back on. Every time with you is like the best party in town, for sure. Did want to remind our viewers that none of us here are experts or authorities on the law of one. We are just normal people like you talking about things of spiritual nature that seem important to us. Anything that any of us say could be wrong. You're welcome to disagree with anything that any of us say. If you are already familiar with the law of one and the entity known as Quo, you might want to skip ahead to the chapter on dancing thoughts. Otherwise, for those who are new to the law of one, you can think of the law of one as a set of spiritual teachings based on the understanding that all is one and that one thing is love. Everything that we're looking at today came to us through the process known as channeling. You can think of channeling as a form of telepathic communication between humans and entities such as angelic beings, extraterrestrial beings, inner planes beings, spirits of deceased, higher self, etc. Channel basically serves as a mouthpiece for other entities to speak through. And in this case, those entities appear to be of extraterrestrial origin. There are two types of channeling that have been developed by our friends at L&L Research. Trance channeling is when the channel is in a trance state, meaning they're subconscious or unconscious as if asleep, meaning they have no idea what words are coming out of their mouth as they're saying them. This is how contact was made with the entity known as Ra back in the early 1980s. Conscious channeling is when the channel is in a conscious but deep meditative state, meaning they're only somewhat aware of what words are coming out of their mouth as they're saying them. This is how contact was made with the entity known as Quo, starting in the mid-1980s up to present day. Who is Quo? You can think of Quo as a group entity made up of three social memory complexes: Ra at 6th density, Latui at 5th density, Hatan at 4th density. You can think of a social memory complex as a planetary consciousness. It would be as if the entire human population of Earth was merged into one group mind. You can think of densities and dimensions as different levels of consciousness or reality, since those two things are so closely intertwined. Imagine, if you will, that the elements of earth, fire, water, and air have some form of consciousness, as many indigenous cultures have been saying for centuries that they do. We call that first density. You can think of second density as the level of consciousness of plants and animals, clearly a quantum leap above and beyond the consciousness of what we would refer to as inanimate matter. You can think of third density as the level of consciousness of humans and cetaceans like whales and dolphins. Again, a significant quantum leap above and beyond the consciousness of plants and other animals. You can think of fourth density as the level of consciousness of the social memory complex. Again, as if the entire human population of Earth was merged into one group mind. Clearly a big quantum leap above and beyond the consciousness of an individual person. You can think of fifth, sixth, and seventh densities as whatever would be quantum leaps comparable above and beyond that. There's much more we could say about that, and if you're interested, check out our podcast episode on densities and dimensions. Otherwise, for now, suffice it to say, the entity known as Quo appears to be a group entity made up of three planetary consciousnesses: Ra at sixth density, Latui at fifth density, and Hatan at fourth density. First contact with Quo was made by the LNL research team back in 1986, almost 2 years after the end of the Ra contact. They have been channeled every month since then up to the present day by the LNL research channeling team. Session transcripts for every session can be found in the LNL conscious channeling library shown on your screen. Having said that, let's look at a super interesting passage about dancing thoughts. As we said, one of the very first things that Ross said in their very first contact with LNL research was, let us for a moment consider thought. What is it, my friends, to take thought? Took you then thought today? What thoughts did you think today? What thoughts were part of the original thought today? In how many of your thoughts did the creation abide? Was love contained? And was service freely given? You are not in a material universe. You are part of a thought. You are dancing in a ballroom in which there is no material. You are dancing thoughts. You move your body, your mind, and your spirit in somewhat eccentric patterns, for you have not completely grasped the concept that you're part of the original thought. Whenever I read that part about dancing in eccentric patterns, I always, of course, remember the Elaine dancing episode from Seinfeld. Have you guys seen that episode? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So hilarious and so funny and so perfectly embodies what Ra was saying here, I think. Otherwise, yeah, just super fascinating concept about dancing in a ballroom with no material being dancing thoughts. Katrina, what do you think? Any thoughts, reflections on anything here?
It's just, for me, every time I read this, it's always that reminder of going back to the creator and reminding myself that I am part of the creator. But also when it's talking about when you move your body, your mind, and your spirit into somewhat eccentric patterns, like it also brings up the way the energy centers are to me. Like in other channelings, they've talked about how they can recognize the individual based on the way that our energy centers go. And I wonder how much the dancing part of that is what does that, So I just kind of picture all of those energy centers just dancing and vibing together, and it just seems really pretty.
I think so. I think that makes perfect sense to me. And I think that is kind of how I see it too. I don't see it as often as I'd like to that way, but it's a great way to look. Yeah. What do you think, Michael? Anything to add?
Oh yeah, I just think that like dance is just such a unique thing to everybody. Everybody has their own style. It's just an authentic way of expressing. So just like moving through the eccentric thing is just like your uniqueness and just like letting that out because it just allows other people just to freely express themselves. So yeah, that's what I love about dance.
For sure. You've been involved in what I believe we call ecstatic dancing for a
Yes.
while, right? For our readers who are new to that, can you share a little bit?
Yeah, so ecstatic dance is let's see here. It's kind of like a meditative, kind of spiritual dance where people will come together. The only rule is pretty much on the floor, besides consent with dancing with anybody else, but it's no talking on the dance floor. So it just allows everybody just to get into their own little rhythm. And I never even knew that I loved dance so much until I started going to ecstatic dance. And it just opened me up to just freely move. And I just saw a whole bunch of weirdos in a room that were just like freely expressing. And I was just like, what is this? This is so cool. And then I just lose myself in the music too. And now I just feel so comfortable dancing and expressing in that way. So it has definitely been one of my favorite meditations, personally. And I can just go so many places in my mind and just releases so much bullshit that I just don't need to hold on to a lot of times. So it's been very great for my spiritual path.
And helped so many others. That was probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite part of the L&L Coming Home gathering in Seattle recently when you DJ'd an ecstatic
Yeah, that was
session.
actually my first time to actually host an ecstatic dance. I've been to a lot of them before that for a couple of years, but I had Colin there who just kept hyping me up. He's like, "You got to do it. You got to do it. I love your music. You have to do it." And I was like, "Okay, fine, I'll do it." And then I ran to my room, put the playlist together. I skipped dinner that night, and then just played it, and it was just so much fun because it's just like a playground of adults playing and just yeah, just letting loose and like communicating in ways other than verbal. So magical.
Well, and once you hit the play button, you're more or less done DJing, right? The rest of it
Yeah,
is
pretty much. Yeah.
vibing with the music with everyone else, right?
Yeah, and you try to like set it up to where it comes in slow. So you're starting with a meditation and then you bring it up to like this like the static, just let go of all the energy and you bring it back down into like another meditation. And then you kind of open it up to in a circle to share after that. But yeah, so much fun.
It's a beautiful playlist for sure that you did. And I think it was the perfect way to end the Coming Home gathering as a group to come together,
Yeah.
dance that way. So super appreciate that and looking forward to more in the future for sure.
Oh, of course.
Sonia, anything to add?
Oh, I got to be part of that ecstatic dance Michael hosted. It was my first time ever. I loved it. And I definitely like I noticed the playlist had that flow, like there was a rhythm that started slow and you kind of get into your rhythm and then it peaks and yeah, so I noticed that and really loved that it had like a flow to it and it reminds me of flowing through life. Like you're kind of, we're all trying to be in that moment, right? In part of this rhythm of life. And I found it to be very meditative. There was a lot of contemplation while I was moving and it just felt good. It was amazing. So thanks for doing that. And
Yeah.
hope we all continue to do this because there is something about moving and feeling the moment that's feels really good.
For sure. Yeah, and we were talking before recording about how life is kind of like about going with the flow and recognizing, picking up on the timing and patterns in nature and the world around you and just being willing to go along with it and vibe with it rather than fighting against the current and such. Appreciate that. I think one of the things that really struck me most about this passage and it being right at the very beginning of the rock contact is the reference to the one original thought. One original thought is another name for the one infinite creator, which is basically the law of one version of God. And I think the whole law of one is really based on this idea that the universe, as quantum physicists have said, the universe is more like a thought than a machine. It really is so much of what we think of as reality is really just basically a construct of the mind. And when you, I mean, Einstein said, when you take matter and break it up into smaller and smaller and smaller pieces, eventually you get energy. That's what E equals MC squared means. It means what we think of as material is an illusion. It's a ballroom with no material. And we are in many ways dancing thoughts from that one original thought. I just love that. Anybody have any thoughts on that or anything else on this passage?
Just kind of more about the ecstatic dance at homecoming. Colin, I think, used Michael's playlist for us
Right.
on that last night, and it was the most beautiful experience. I just remember looking around at points and just seeing such beauty in each and every person there. Everyone just was glowing and happy, and it was just such a great experience. So yes, I think everyone should do
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah. That's the another magical thing about it. Like if you don't feel comfortable dancing, sometimes people are just meditating the whole time. Sometimes they're just stretching, doing acro yoga. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to dance. But a lot of those moments, like I will just stop and just see everybody just enveloped in joy, and those are the most magical parts of the dance. You just see everybody so happy, and then it just like beams this energy into you, and then yeah, it's so cool.
Dance is magical for sure, no doubt about it. Just ask the Sufi dancers or any number of dancers from spiritual traditions. Yeah, I did want to mention Colin is also from the Law of One Austin study group, if I remember correctly. Big shout out to the Austin Law of One study group. You guys are on the list of study groups at LNL Research, right, Michael?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we meet in person too every other Sunday. So, and
Nice.
some speckled times mixed in there. So, yeah.
Nice. So you guys do not do Zoom meetings then, huh? Everything
Oh, we
is
do
in
not. Yeah.
person.
We're lucky that we do everything in person. So, yeah, it's really nice.
YouTube viewer, if you're anywhere in driving distance of Austin, look these guys up. Super fun group. Did anybody have anything else to add on this passage before we take a look at something else? Sounds good. Let's take a look at a passage on Dance of Life. On October 13th, 2009, Quo said, "You are seeking to be a dependable, flexible, attentive entity who is witnessing moment by moment the love and light of the infinite creator as it eddies and swirls and creates the dance of life. And all those who come into your purview dance with you in one way or another. We would almost characterize this as the dance of the spiritual athlete, for there are times, such as your ordeal in the workplace, where not just once, but again and again, the waves strike you and seek to tumble you and put you off balance. And you seek not to stand your ground so much as to cooperate with the waves, to roll and dive and jump and dance with this energy, losing all fear, worrying not whether your heart is even open, but simply paying attention moment by moment by moment. For the Creator is in that moment and in you and in those with whom you dance. My brother, sometimes in the dance the movements are so fast, and you are still sometimes learning the steps, and consequently it shall seem as though you have lost that realization. We can assure you that you have not. And even now, as we speak to you, feel the opening of your heart. Feel the love in the moment. It flows through you. You are not responsible for producing it. You are only responsible for patiently, again and again, when you sense your contraction around a trigger, around pain, around suffering, beginning to do that work of remembrance that releases fear so that you remember who you are and why you are here. You are a child of the one infinite creator, and you came here to create a space through which light may flow in order that you may help enlightening the consciousness of planet Earth. Such a beautiful passage, and like every other passage from Quo, there's so much here to look at, so much to unpack. I think maybe one of the things that stood out to me most was the part in the middle about just cooperating, the waves, rolling, diving, jumping, dancing with the energy. It really seems to encapsulate what we talked about before in terms of going with the flow rather than trying to stand your ground or trying to go against the flow. Really, really love that. Michael, any thoughts, reflections on anything here?
The things that jump out to me most is like losing all fear and just releasing all fear. That's what it's all about, because we're so afraid to be ourselves a lot of times, and that's kind of what the dance is all about. Just being okay with whoever you are and not worrying about people judging you, or too worried about how you look to others, and just like feeling your uniqueness and letting that shine, and letting that part of the one infinite creator just be, I don't know, seen by other people. So yeah, just the losing all fear is just is it's the training ground in the dance. It's like that's the biggest part for me.
Yeah, so beautifully said. I'm pretty sure Quo has said more than a couple times that that is one of the primary lessons of third density incarnations, to choose love over fear. We we had a podcast episode on love over fear. Check it out, viewers, if you want to see some more great passages on that. Otherwise, yeah, that was all beautifully said, Michael. Sonia, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I really like the part with the dance of the spiritual athlete. I like that idea because it really is like we're working a muscle, right? We're learning this rhythm, and sometimes we pull a muscle, and and we get off balance, and it's like, we're having to ride the waves and jumping with it, um, and I like the idea of kind of being a spiritual athlete where you're going to fall and you're going to lose your rhythm, but really it's part of the process. It's part of building up that rhythm for you so that, and the more and more you do that, you can jump right in and dance along. And yeah, and I agree with Michael. It's really like losing the fear and not worrying so much. And just being part of in that moment of the rhythm.
Yeah. Rhythm, I think, really is such a central part of obviously dance and in so many different styles and traditions. But in life, as you're saying, picking up on the rhythm of life and learning how to dance with it, definitely power in that for sure, and does not come naturally to a lot of people. Katrina, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I've just loved the artful way that Quo puts it into perspective that we all are one. Like that we're everyone that we come into contact with, whether they've hurt us or whether we've hurt them, we're still just dancing. And we're all part of the creator and we're all just dancing together. And that those perceived pains really were just a stumble in the dance, like learn from it and then don't stumble again. But actually, it's just the last paragraph that starts with my brother. Sometimes in the dance, the movements are so fast. I just, I mean, that whole passage, the entire time, I was just reminded of this feels like what it was when my kids were little. I mean, they're 20 and 22 now. And, it was every day you were learning new steps and you always were second guessing yourself. And you would close your eyes and the next moment they would have grown and their clothes didn't fit and everything. And then it was just, but you had so much love. I mean, it was just love and pouring and second guessing and love and pouring and second guessing. Like that's all it felt like motherhood was. And then now that they're grown and they don't need me the same way, but they still need me and everything, it's just, I see how much love and light that is. And it makes me realize how much I could have that same love and light for every human, not just my children. Right. And so it was this beautiful connection for me of that, how fast it goes but how much we're still supposed to live and learn from it all. Yeah.
Wow. So beautifully said, man. I got nothing to add to that. That was so beautiful. It does remind me, I think it's come up at least a couple of times in our Zoom sessions recently, how, yeah, being a parent is a sacrifice, especially if you're the mother, and so much of what you sacrifice in your physical body compared to what your physical body was before childbirth and after childbirth. Noting that, yeah, I mean, it's part of the archetypical mind that incarnating in third density is a sacrifice, and that everything that you do while you're in this incarnation can be offered as a sacrifice, and the power of that is commensurate with the power of the purity with which one does it. So hard to think of, I mean, other than giving your life for somebody, I mean, dying for somebody, giving birth to somebody and bringing another life into this world. What a beautiful gift and offering and sacrifice for sure.
Well, and I also love that then it brings it back that we are a child of the infinite creator. So if I have these thoughts, like those are just a minute level of the love that the creator can pour, right? And so it's this, wow, how the creator must feel in this. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no matter how good or bad appearing your child grows up to be. If you're the parent, yeah, you still, I would think, on some level, to love them. Beautiful thought. Did anyone have anything to add before we look at another passage on this subject?
I just think it's worth noting in the last paragraph there about the feel the love in the moment, it flows through you. You're not responsible for producing it. I think it's important to note that it's always present, it's ever present. And it's a matter of opening up and allowing it to flow through us. And to add to what Katrina said, it's we try to love everyone, right? Like we love our children. I think that's part of we all have our own process, and I share this process too. So
Yeah, appreciate your sharing that. The present moment is a very, very powerful metaphysical thing that our friends in the Confederation have spoken of a lot. There is definitely magical power in living in the present moment. So I appreciate you reminding it. And yeah, it's nice to see it in this passage as well. We did a podcast episode on the present moment. Check it out if you're interested, viewers. Does anybody have anything else to add on this passage before we change the screen? Cool. This other passage was from April 19th, 2009, and Quo said, "There is nothing necessarily sober or serious or ponderous about spiritual seeking. You may walk the King's Highway with a merry heart and a song upon your lips. When you're having fun, as shallow as that concept may sound, you are flowing with the dance of life, in which every flower and tree, every lion and bear, every turtle, every speck of the ocean, every mote of dust is involved. The dance of life includes you, not as awkward stumblers, no matter what you may think, but as wonderful, coordinated dancers. Let the rhythm of your days delight you, and see every task and every chore that you perform as a kind of dance. Each sacred concern, no matter how shallow it may seem, has its rhythm, its tempo, and its steps. And as you allow your vision to be one which gives life to everything you see, you shall allow yourself more and more to dance with the water with which you do the dishes, or clean the toilet, or cleanse a baby. You shall see every plate as that surface which smiles at you when you have washed it and says, 'Thank you, I love to be clean.' Share the delight of that dish and give it a smile. Let everything within your ken become real to you as one with whom you dance, knowing that there is nothing too humble to be sacred, nothing too high to bow before. For you are a dancer, and so is the highest, and so is the lowest of all that you know, of all that you see, all with whom you dance. Let the rhythms of love overtake you wherever you are, and when you feel that you have somehow lost that rhythm and are jerky and awkward in your spirituality, ask for help." I've read through this passage quite a few times, and it's only just now in reading it this time that I was looking that part about seeing every plate as that surface which smiles and washed it and says, "Thank you, I love to be clean." I was thinking about Beauty and the Beast cartoon with all the talking teapots and cups and all that stuff. Should have got a graphic to include, but that is just hilarious. And I think in many metaphysical ways, it is true. They are smiling back at you and talking to you. You just have to learn to hear it and see it. Katrina, any non-Disney related thoughts you care to share here?
Well, when you sent these, I originally read through them, and I'm sure my husband is very thankful because I was right before you sent them. I was very angry about how much cleaning I needed to do in the house, including the dishes. And then I read this, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll be grateful. So, thank you, Jonathan, on that one. On a
Yeah.
on a more spirituality set form, I think it's just, I think it's funny how we've talked about already how many times we've said how we feel awkward or like we don't feel like a rhythm, but quote tells us that we have a perfect rhythm, right? Like that's our own insecurity coming out of being a third density being versus, hey, we're all just doing it together. And um, so I just think that that was such a beautiful, beautiful reminder. And then the very last statement, ask for help. When last weekend I was being Holy Fire Reiki 2 certified, and I was having a hard time when it was my turn to receive the Reiki because I was trying to process like what I was going to be doing when it was my turn to have to give the Reiki as opposed, and it was so clear to me to receive, you have to give, and to give, you have to receive. And so like that's the balance. And so you have to be willing to receive it, which also means you have to be willing to ask for it. And so I think that that's probably one of the biggest struggles is admitting that you need help and that you need the others, which is such a lie of our society. We all need each other, right? So yeah, that's what I got from this. A clean house and that I need to ask for help.
Yeah, I really appreciate your sharing that. And with house cleaning stuff. I know many times in our Seattle Law Onesie sessions, we laughingly ask each other if anyone has cleaned the toilet with love in their hearts recently, because there is that passage or two where Quo said, cleaning the toilet with love in your heart, you're actually doing more for the world than somebody who channels or heals 1,000 people without love in their hearts. So I think I can remember at least twice when I have cleaned the toilet with love in my heart. Otherwise, I tend to kind of forget that part as I'm caught up in it. Uh, Sonia, anything to add?
Yeah, I love the line, let the rhythm of your days delight you. And the days are so monotonous, right? The cleaning and the work and the chores and all this other things you have to do. But um I Kuo is so great at reminding us of these things. And it's really a choice, right? And I put a post-it note up so that I can remind myself something what seems simple but is so hard to do on a regular basis, right? Is to just allow, the monotony or whatever to be delighted in it. And it's yeah, it's a choice, and it's a surprisingly hard one to do on a consistent basis.
Well, not surprisingly hard for a parent of two young children, one of whom is special needs. Um, Yeah, I would hope reminders to our viewers. If you happen to be a parent of special needs child, older or younger, yeah, yeah, give yourself some slack and find some ways to do whatever is working for you. I don't know. What do you think is the trick for you, Sonia? Is it sticky notes? Is that a big spiritual hack for you?
Yeah, sticky notes are helpful. I have a cool label maker. I label a lot of things now. Um, Honestly, the laughter in the home is my biggest reminder. When there's laughter, I'm reminded, if I am doing chores, if I am having to rush to cook or clean something, I go, well, my family's going to enjoy this, so I'm gonna be loving while I'm doing it. And so, yeah, it helps me to think that way.
Yeah, that's powerful magic. How are you able to find little bits of time to carve out to maybe meditate or do something more metaphysical?
If being efficient, I don't always have time to sit and meditate, but while I'm doing dishes is maybe my moment to contemplate. Or, if I want to do like I can't get through a book because I don't have time to read, then for fun, I'll do an audiobook while I'm doing chores. Or, it's like I try to find ways that I enjoy things, but it's also not taking away from the things I have to do.
Right.
Um, but yeah, and for me, I think enjoying life is spiritual, if as much as you can. Um, it's
So beautiful, so profound for sure. Michael, you also have a young child and a second one on the way, correct?
Yes,
Do
yeah, I
you
have
have
a 2-year-old.
any tips for our viewers in terms of any viewers who also have parents of young children? Like, how do you find time for your spiritual life in a normal day?
Yeah, because that's the hardest thing with young kids. It's so hard to find like a natural flow of doing anything. Whether you're cooking or cleaning, there's always a little munchkin running up and needing something, or you have to watch out for whatever they're doing. So yeah, just trying to find the flow. I think music definitely helps for me. Just putting on music that'll just like unclear my spirit, just to kind of move with the flow and have something that's just bringing my vibration up. So music is definitely a tool for that. And then just yeah, like Sonia was saying, just like laughter, bringing more laughter into the house, and just like remembering that life is supposed to be fun. And like we think as like spiritual people that everything has to be structured and rigid, and we have to sit down and meditate, and everything's just such a chore. But it's just like yes, there's a time for discipline, but it's like more of discipline and like bringing that joy back into life and in everything that you're doing, and just remembering to bring joy. So when I see like when you were having fun, as shallow as that concept may sound, you were flowing with the dance of life. It's just like, yeah, you think that's a shallow thing, but it's just like you have to, yeah, that top line. It's just like bring more fun into everything that you're doing. So, and then I also just like think of the Jesus quote. He's like, the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these, and he's talking about children in that because it's like they're so like lost in the moment. Like children come out knowing how to dance, and they're just like freely dancing, freely moving. And we kind of forget that as we're programmed in society to be more self-conscious and be more fearful. But yeah, just to remember to have fun and just to be disciplined about bringing fun back into your life, you know. So
It's one of the best things you can do for your kid, I would think. Appreciate your mentioning music because, yeah, Miriam and I raised two kids who are in their mid 20s now, and we always had music playing in the house. And some of that music they have chosen to make part of their playlist that they listen to. And obviously, they branched out and found a lot of other music that they love. You talk about laughter too. I agree, super important. Are you a fan of stand-up comedy? Since I know Austin is like Mecca for stand-up comedy right now, or are there any shows or movies that you really like to watch to help you remember the
oh, I Des wanted to watch Key and Peele last night. I haven't watched Key and Peele in a while. So we
nice?
came home from a show, just like a big brass band show, and she was like, "I just need to laugh." And so she just was putting on funny things on TV, and my parents were watching Misha, so we just sat on the couch and just laughed our asses off at just random YouTube videos, and it was good. And I was just like, man, I need to laugh more. You know, it's like why
Sure.
am I not doing this more? You know.
It's easy to forget. So we
Yeah.
get caught up in the drama of life, and it would almost seem as if the powers that be that run our political, economic, social systems want to keep us in a perpetual state of fear and anxiety. It's, yeah, easy to forget. Anybody else have anything to add on this passage before we go ahead and take a look at something else? Sounds good. Let's take a look at some passages on Dance of Death. This is actually one passage in particular. This is one of my favorites. It's from June 2nd, 1985. A person with the initial N asked, "Would you address, please, a consideration for the fact that whether there is or is not going to be an Armageddon?" Latwii says, "I am Latwii, and this is a very humorous question, my brother. We hope that you do not think that we have an unusual sense of humor, but it is as if one at a dance had asked us, where was the dance? My brother, you live within the Armageddon. The times, as it has been said, are indeed a-changing. You live within times that are most uncertain, in which all portions of the life experience change and change with great rapidity. Look about you, my brother. You see the battle of light and dark in all places, in all hearts. You see the doubts and the fears. You see the prophets, the sages. You see all that has been foretold. And yes, you are at the dance." I've read this passage a million times, and it still cracks me up every time I read it, mainly because it was from goddamn 1985. It's like, I remember, the world seemed pretty cool in 1985 compared to where the fuck we are now in 2025, where things seem a whole lot more Armageddonish to me than they did in 1985. I just think that's hilarious. Sonia, Sonia, do you have any thoughts, reflections on anything here?
I love Latwee's sense of humor. They're so funny. And I love love how they're like, you are at the dance. Like this is Armageddon, right? And it is funny that this is from 40 years ago and it seems more relevant now than ever. But yeah, Latwee's
Hilarious.
great.
Hilarious. Yeah, I have to remind myself to cut myself some slack at times, and viewers or yourself. I mean, it's like it's easy to forget or take for granted. We are living literally through the end of the world. This is the end of third density world, Earth, and the beginning of fourth density. So, if you want to have an extra glass of wine or extra donut or something, Jesus Christ, go ahead and enjoy it. It's the
Yeah,
goddamn end times. Have a fucking donut and enjoy, okay?
absolutely. We were just in this last passage, we were just talking about enjoying life and how that could be a spiritual process, part of the spiritual process. And yeah, just exactly have that glass of wine, laugh, just try to bring in the light as much as you can.
Yeah, yeah. Chill out, and that's okay. Medicate yourself however you need to is appropriate to make it through the end times. Glass of wine, yeah. Glass of
Thank
tequila,
you.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael, anything to add?
Oh, 1985. I was not alive yet, but I was actually born a year later. I turned 39 a couple days ago. But
Oh, nice.
people keep asking me, why do you look so young? And I think that might be attributed to dance, and just trying to just bring in joy and just stay happy and move. But yeah, I love the dark sense of humor that Latwii kind of has, and it just brings everything back to perspective. You can look into the world and just see the most, I don't know, dooms filled reality, or you can just look and see joy and happiness, and then you get to choose kind of where you want to fit into either one of those paradigms. So it's all comes back to perspective to me.
Yeah, well said. And that's easy to forget, even in the worst of times. As Quo has said, you can find the love in the moment, even in the
Yeah.
worst of times, and Creator's there. And might be a little bit hard to find, but it is there. Appreciate that. Katrina, anything to add?
I just, I was raised in a very, very evangelical Christian church in the South, like one generation away from snake handlers, just about. I mean, like and so I've been taught about Armageddon. Like, I think it's probably one of the first. And so when I read this, I just couldn't help but laugh because, like, in all honesty, like what I was taught was such fear. But when you read this, I mean, it's just another dance. Like, and it reminds me of how, like, we were begging to come here during this time. Like we like there's people begging to get here to learn whatever lesson they need, and then you're here in these dark times, and or when you're having a dark time, it just reminds me that you got to just laugh about it sometimes and be like, hey, I don't know why my higher self and why I begged to be here, but I did. So what lesson do I need to learn?
Well,
So
part of it was specifically to do that, to come here
yeah,
and be able to lighten Earth
yeah,
energies in the
Mhm.
yeah.
darkest of times.
But I love the idea of the battle of light and dark, and like that you can't have dark without light and you can't have light without dark, that those two go together, and that the whole point of this existence is to decide like which path you're going to go down, right? And so not that one is more right than the other, they all end back to the creator, but we got to try to make that decision. So I don't know, that's just what if that's what Armageddon is, it's not as scary as we're making it seem in so many.
Well, as we said before we started recording, I think it is like the caterpillar and the butterfly.
Yeah.
Third density is the caterpillar, fourth density is the butterfly. And for folks who were not for folks who were talking during biology class, when a caterpillar goes into a cocoon, its body literally liquefies and dissolves and reforms in the form of a butterfly. So it does seem like, in so many ways, planet Earth really is, yeah, it's like the caterpillar that's dying. But it's easy to forget. It's easy to assume that that's the end of it. But no, there's a beautiful butterfly waiting to be born. And we came here to be part. Anybody else have anything to add on this passage?
And the butterfly thing still just blows my mind that they just turn into goo inside of a sack. Like I tell people that, and then I still look it up because I was like, that can't be real. But that's what happens in there. It's insane. Life is crazy.
I turn into goo when I go to bed and get under the covers and reemerge newly formed the next.
Well, you're a beautiful butterfly today, so it worked.
I'm a beautiful butterfly every day. God damn it. As I'm reading this passage again and picking up on the Armageddon part, I think it is worth reminding our viewers that Quo has said many, many, many times that the majority of Earth population right now is made up of souls who were on planets that literally blew themselves up, whether it was Maldek or Mars or Deneb or Sirius or Atlantis on this continent. So there's so much karma that we're bringing with us in planets that did literally blow themselves up or destroy themselves, that it's easy to forget that that is part of the plan for service to self entities. I mean, if they cannot make Earth become a negative social memory complex, the least they can do is keep it from becoming a positive one. And they're happy to blow the planet up as they have done on so many planets before. I think for me, that makes a big difference, because before the law of one, I would have said to myself, well, nobody really wants to blow up the planet. And now I realize, oh, no, there are individuals who would be very happy to do that. And that is, in fact, part of their agenda. So Doesn't mean I have to freak out about it or go to war with them. It just means, oh, okay, well, now that I realize that's part of the picture, it's another part of the dance to dance with. Any thoughts on that or anything else before we look at something else? Cool. Well, let's look at a couple passages on joining the dance. On November 13th, 2010, Quo said, "You see, where you put your energy, where you put your mind, is vitally central to your experience. If you begin with an act of faith and say, I think life is this way, and I'm going to live it as if it were this way, then you cast yourself into the mid-air of faith, having no proof of anything but the simple feeling, the knowing, that all truly is well and that the universe does make sense. It is not meaningless, and you are not alone. You are loved. You are needed. You are full of purpose, and you simply need to let go of any preconceived notions as to how that works and simply engage in life to the best of your ability as a conscious seeker that understands the power of choice, the power of desire, the power of intention. The universe will begin to perceive you as joining the dance. You will begin to get synchronicities back. You'll see repeating numbers. You will see your totem animal. You will see the signs that what you were thinking is important and that what you were thinking just now is especially important. So ponder it." Really love that part, and I'm guessing that anyone who's watching this can relate to the idea of getting synchronicities, seeing repeating numbers, seeing totem animals. I have definitely been seeing a lot of those recently and have taken those as positive affirmations. Michael, any thoughts on anything here?
Man, yeah, I just remember back in my, I guess, kind of unconscious days and just like not seeing the magic of life. And then when you really start your seeking path, you do start seeing the repeating numbers and the things like that. And you're just like wondering, what does it mean? What does it mean? But then, yeah, I love that Law of One has kind of brought this just like, yeah, you're on the path. It is things of affirmation. So yeah, I just love that from this.
Yeah, I remember there was a passage I read not too long ago where I think the session was from a long time ago, and the question was asked of what kind of support does the Confederation of Planets in the service of the Infinite Creator offer to humanity in this case. And they obviously talked about channeling, but they also talked about appearing in people's dreams or sending positive messages. And they said specifically synchronicity support. There are some members of the Confederation who specialize in like synchronicities and supporting synchronicities, helping people meet that chance person or find that book or playing the right song at the right time or whatever, or seeing the repeating numbers. I just think that's super cool. And I have made that part of my meditations too, to add my support for Confederation synchronicities. It's funny. What do you think? Sonia, anything to add?
Yeah, I love that they mentioned the synchronicities here. I remember like after first read the Law of One, that first year after, there was a lot of like asking my guides, like, I'm open to messages. I don't know what they are, but I'll trust that I'll figure them out. And there was 1111, 333, like a lot of, and over time I was able to kind of correlate like certain meanings for me in certain like trains of thought. And yeah, it's like confirmations or, just help that like I'm on the path and or maybe this is the right way of thinking and I need to continue this path and things like that. And yeah, ask. I think if you ask, they help you out.
Indeed. Yeah, and like everything else in third density, it's a matter of faith. I mean, you're not going to find any scientific proof that repeating numbers on the clock had any like special meaning. It's just something that you take on faith. But has been said more than a few times in channeling the sessions that, yeah, seeing repeating numbers is often a signal from the universe that whatever you're doing at that moment, whatever you were thinking in that moment, is a good thing. Go with that. I just find that super cool to know. Katrina, anything to add?
Yeah, this is just one of those passages that just reminds me of love. I mean, just love through and through. And before I connected to the Law of One, I had a lot of self-worth issues and things like that. And so did a lot of therapy and self-help and all of this. And it's funny, Sonia, that you talked about post-it notes and how you use them because like I had to do that too. I mean, and when I was in my darkest place, I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. I didn't want to. And so I had to put post-it notes of like that you are loved and I would put you are needed. And so the fact that those, I mean, this is a synchronicity in itself that those three that are in that second, you are loved, you're needed, you're full of purpose. I mean, mine was you have a purpose, but I had those all around my house just to remind me that I was here for a reason and that I can't take life um, so flippantly, that it is here to be enjoyed. And at that time I didn't really know how to do that, but definitely have gotten there now. And so yeah, it's just so beautiful that it's like those reminders that we are supposed to go through those dark times. But the second you make that choice and you change those thoughts to, then you find the love and the purpose and the power in that.
Yeah. Yeah, so beautiful. I appreciate that. And yes, I have used sticky notes too. When I was a classroom teacher, I'm retired now. Yes, I believe I had several sticky notes with Law of One reminders of various types and places where I would see them all the time. And doesn't mean I did a great job of following them. In fact, I think, to be honest, yeah, rarely did I really fully engage with what I was hoping to remember with the sticky notes. But again, you got to cut yourself some slack and just do the best you can. And what more can you do than the best you can? Anyone else have anything to add on this passage before we look at something else? Sounds good. I think this is a second passage on the same subject. This is from November 6th, 2005, about 20 years ago. Quo said, "We cannot find enough ways to express to you how exciting we find your adventures. We see all too clearly the perfection of the Creator's plan, and we are aware of your blindness. It is therefore very exciting to us to see how you step forth so bravely into the arena of everyday life, armed only with your faith. Certainly, how to find that faith is a question unto itself, for faith is created out of nothing. Perhaps you are aware of the figure of the 22nd archetype of the tarot deck, the Fool, stepping out over the edge of the abyss into nothingness. That is how you find faith, my friends. And so it is with the dance that you do with the incarnational lessons. When you hear the music and recognize your leitmotif is playing for you once again, we encourage you not to be concerned that you do not know the steps. Arise and join the dance. The steps will come to you as you free yourself to experience them by giving up the safety of your seated position." Love this one so much, and I was certainly keying in on what they said about faith and the Fool archetype, and definitely want to come back to that. Otherwise, for readers who didn't know, viewers who didn't know, the word leitmotif just refers to a short musical phrase that's associated with a character. You could think of it as like Darth Vader's entry song. Whenever he appears in the scene in a Star Wars movie, he's got a specific theme that goes with it. And I just think that's a hilarious metaphor to use here for, I believe, what they were referring to as, recurring patterns and lessons that seem to be coming to us over and over again at different times during our incarnations. Once you realize that, as you said, everything has a purpose and you have reasons for being here, then seeing those kind of things, I would think, is kind of encouraging to learn those lessons. What do you think, Katrina? Any thoughts, reflections on anything here?
Well, the very first line, we cannot find enough ways to express how exciting we find your adventures. It just makes me picture them watching us like we're a movie screen and like we're watching one of those really intense movies and they're like cheering on the and so it makes me giggle, which is the way, I mean, as we go through our day-to-day struggles, like if you can't laugh at it, you're gonna cry, so you might as well laugh, right? But no, it's such a beautiful way to like put it into that like we're bravely here, so bravely walk in your faith and bravely walk into your truth. So And I love that they bring up music and dancing because I feel like a lot of times people forget that the music is just as important as the dance, or that the dance is just as important as the music. People tend to like one or the other when I've talked to a lot of people. Um, but the dance is just as important. If you're gonna listen to the music, honoring the music and moving to it is the beauty of it, right? So
For sure, and being able to pick up on the song that apparently no one else is hearing necessarily. I like the part at the beginning of your comments where you were suggesting that we're really basically a reality TV show providing entertainment for our friends in the Confederation.
but I picture
That is
every
hilarious.
time I'm going through something, I'm like, oh yeah, they're probably getting a real big kick out of this.
The Real Housewives of Planet Earth. So hilarious. Michael, anything to add?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too, like a reality TV show, because I like watching reality TV. But yeah, that's like why me and Des have our podcast live from Clown World, because it is just like it's a reality show. We're just making fun of the things that are happening in our world, and yeah, the whole name of the game is to walk by faith, not by sight. Like that's what we're here to do. So it's like about you connecting with the creator, connecting to your higher self and figuring out what it is you need to do and then going and do that thing and just going fully into it and putting your most energy and focus into that and then seeing what happens, get the test scores at the end, and then your next life, you adjust.
Yeah, so beautiful. Yes, for viewers who didn't know, Michael and his partner Des have a podcast called Live from Clown World, which is on
Live from Clown World.
Spotify, right?
Mhm. Yeah. And iTunes too.
And iTunes. So
Mhm.
yeah, check it out. It's super cool. What do you think, Sonia? Anything else to add?
I love this first sentence that they refer to this as adventures. And it does feel like we incarnated here to join the Earth Dance. And sometimes it feels like an intense techno where you're like, all right, let's like slow down the pace. This is a lot. But, just like cool referenced earlier, we try to ride the wave and try to move with it. And so, yeah. But I love the zoomed out perspective that Ko gives.
Indeed. Yeah, I feel like the music for my dance is like either the hokey pokey or like dun 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 dun. It seems to be the soundtrack. Anybody else have any thoughts on anything from this passage?
I mean, I think I would rather the heavy techno that's fast paced than like maybe a mosh pit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like a mosh pit.
Yeah. Like, all right, let's slow down the tempo now.
Yeah. Let's dance to Gregorian chants, shall we? Yeah. I do love Latin music. We were talking before we started recording, I think, about different kind of dance that we do. And yeah, somewhere during pandemic, I think I was exposed to reggaeton and Latin music, and I just love it so much. It is something that Miriam and I often enjoy doing after dinner. We'll put on that playlist and just enjoy vibing and dancing to it around. It's just super fun. Great way to join in the dance of life, I think.
Yeah, music's
Anyone
great.
else? Yeah.
Ragnar, which I know you all have either met or know Ragnar, who's also a Love One student. But yeah, he will listen to anything. He has his repertoire of music is like he'll put on like Indian music one day, like just random stuff, and it's so fun to just hear all the different, and just to see the kids kind of jive with things. And it's funny, there are times where like, we don't like this one. Can you change it? And we're like, no, let's give it a moment. Let's jam out to this one. So yeah, I think music's a great thing to just have in your day-to-day life.
Well, it is, as you're suggesting, highly personal thing. I mean, whatever music I enjoy listening to, I don't necessarily expect anyone else to enjoy listening to, and vice versa. But if you can find a music that you really enjoy, vibe to, it can certainly make life more enjoyable, more fun for sure. Anyone else have anything to add?
Yeah, that's also kind of what I love about going to some of these ecstatic dances. They'll play music that you've never heard of, and sometimes they'll play music just to mess with you, just to see how you react to it, you know? So it might just be classical music. They'll go from like the most hype, I don't know, EDM song to just like classical piano, just to see how you move to it. They're almost like messing with you in a sense, but that just allows you to just try to find that flow and rhythm in anything that comes up next. Whatever song comes up, just like you have to find yourself in there, you know?
Well said. Going with the flow, as
Mhm.
they say. Yeah, appreciate that. Anyone else? Anything else to add? Cool. Well, let's look at a passage about becoming the dance. On October 6, 2002, Quo said, "The mechanisms of learning are assisted not by resisting the pain of learning, but by speaking it, chanting it, expressing it, having a dance with it, so that there is a movement of energy and a lifting of the spirit that deals with whatever is being dealt with at the time. The one known as R said earlier life is not about working, it is about playing. And this is a good sentence to use as an example of how you can speak to yourself in certain ways. All things take effort. Shall you call that effort work, or shall you call it play? Shall you call it walking, or shall you call it dancing? Shall you call it speaking, or shall you call it singing? Shall you define yourself as prose, or shall you allow yourself to be poetry? There is a way to play with the textures, qualities, and tonalities of life. In this playing, all of the forces of nature wait to play with you. And when the mind is released into this playing mode, there's a tremendous outburst of energy from angelic and from inner planes nature sources who are just waiting to play with anyone else who is also playing. For the dance is ongoing, and that which you are is that which moves into this dance, becomes part of this dance, and becomes this dance. So beautiful. I had such a great time putting this episode together because a lot of the passages I'm sharing I hadn't seen before. I just used the Law of One search engine, LNO research search engine, and put in dance and dancing and seeing what came up. But I really love that part in the middle where they are saying that, I mean, everything takes effort, everything you do, but are you going to call it work or are you going to call it play? Will you think of it as walking or dancing, speaking or singing, prose or poetry? What a beautiful way to suggest that people have a choice of whether they want to be muggles or whether they want to be wizards or be magical entities or not. I just think that is super cool, super beautiful. What do you think, Michael? Any thoughts on anything here?
Yeah, it still just goes back to perspective for me, you know, just like how do you want to see reality, you know? And like the resisting, like we're so quick to resist and repress things a lot of times, but it's just like that we know that's not going to deal with it. At this point in consciousness, I believe that people know that repressing things and pushing things down is just going to boil over at some point. So it's just like learning to just like dance with it, you know, and think about it and contemplate on it, meditate on it, and just yeah, figure out what's actually driving you. So yeah, love that.
Well said. Yeah, and it's probably worth noting that dance could be a form of meditation. Walking in nature can be a form of meditation. Meditation isn't necessarily sitting in the lotus position in silence or oming or whatever. Anything can be a meditation. Anything can be a dance. So really appreciate the reminder on that. Sonia, anything to add?
No, nothing. I think Michael really nailed it on that one.
Indeed, he did. Katrina, anything to add?
Yeah, just once again, I just love Quo's poetry. It's just so beautifully spoken. When I first read this, I actually cried. But I just think of every time I have been through a really difficult time, um, as I'm getting older, I feel like I can get through them a little bit easier just by reminding myself every time I've had a difficult time, I've come out better and stronger with lessons that I'm thankful for, right? And so it's not like a try to skip past it, but it's a hey, the sooner I learn this lesson, the sooner this hard time is going to be over and I can move on to the next one, right? I mean, because the next one's coming. But I just think how beautiful it is to think of it as like, this is my opportunity to learn the lesson I needed to learn. This is the dance that I get with this pain. And some of the most beautiful dances portray that pain of the human existence. When you're watching like ballet and you see some of those dark, it's just like you see the pain, but then there's such beauty in it that it's that reminder that there is beauty in it all.
Yeah, and a great reminder that that is actually wired into the archetypical mind for our third density incarnations in this part of the universe. I'm probably going to butcher up the passage, but I'm paraphrasing what Ross said about one of the archetypes of the archetype of the mind, where they said usually things that seem to be positive catalysts tend to polarize us more towards the negative path of service to self. And things that seem to be negative catalysts are the things that tend to polarize us more on the positive path of service to others, meaning that when things are going really good for you, you tend not to really think about other people. You're just thinking about enjoying the experience for yourself. And it is often the really negative experiences like mass group trauma and catastrophic events that get people to think more about others and how they can help others instead of themselves. And it's just funny. And I guess it's a good thing to remember as we're looking at, let's say, the current events of the day and looking at what seem to be like really intensely catastrophic events and realizing that they really provide beautiful opportunities for entities to be of service to others and polarized enough to graduate if they haven't been able to do it up to this point. Anybody else have any thoughts on this passage or anything else? Coolio. Well, let's take a look at a couple passages on dancing with magic. February 4th, 2007, Quo said, "We have never been able to fully describe the archetypal mind because it is an infinite, ever-shifting ocean which is fed by all the rivers and of all the energies that are possible to expend in creation. When you seek up into an archetype, you are attempting to join the creation itself as it dances its dance of creation. You are slipping into an already proceeding dance and moving into the flow where you can feel where to whirl and where to turn and where to leap and where to bow. For it is a stately dance at times, and at times a merry jig, and at other times the saddest of dirges with the most deeply expressive woe. Dance all of your tunes, my friends, and dance them with all your heart. The difference between the everyday and the magical is the difference between the entity who sees and hears no music and feels no desire to dance, and the entity who, hearing and seeing no music and feeling no urge to dance, nevertheless rises up and invokes the dance." Super funny. I forgot that there are references to the archetypical mind in this passage. When I brought it up in the previous passage, I totally forgot that that was coming up. Super cool, though. I really like the part at the very end where they're saying the difference between the everyday and the magical is the difference between someone who sees and hears no music, has no desire to dance, and one who hears no music, has no urge to dance, nevertheless rises up and invokes the dance. They didn't go where I thought they were going to go with that. After reading the first part, I thought they were going to say something about hearing music that nobody else hears and dancing to it. But they're saying that, no, magic is, no, you didn't even hear any music. You're not dancing to anything. You are creating it and invoking the dance yourself. That's just like super cool. Any thoughts on this, Sonia? Anything here?
Yeah, you're a powerful co-creator being. You have the ability to dance when there's no music, and it's probably even more important to dance when there's no music, and it's kind of adding to what Katrina had mentioned in the last passage of like, you know, it's painful. But I think that the pain gives, the dark gives the light depth. And, we're here to experience it. And, because we're veiled, we're going to experience it in a over and over and over again to come to that same conclusion. And it's really to touch our hearts so that we really know it inside. And, hopefully also goes up into our conscious working. But
Touching the heart is so important, though, for sure. And I appreciate what you said about everyone being creators and co-creators. I often find it annoying when somebody says that we create our own reality. It just seems somehow to me some form of spiritual bypassing. But it is true, and Quo has said many times that we are indeed creators and co-creators of our realities and of our futures and of everything in our lives. And we did a podcast episode on creators and co-creators. Check it out, viewer, if you want to see some more great passages on that. Otherwise, Katrina, anything to add?
I just think it's so beautiful to the idea, the imaging that it brings to me of thinking about that you're attempting to join creation and you're attempting to dance with creation itself, right? Like, what a beautiful image to think about, and how us accepting and choosing by faith to do what we need to do and learn the lessons that we need to learn and dance the dance that we need to dance is being part of creation. It's just such a neat way to bring it all together, but it all starts with that faith of standing up even when you don't want to. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's something that I have rarely, if ever, seen really discussed at length in any other religion or philosophy or spiritual teaching. But here, no, they're saying it really is a big central part of the spiritual teaching, this concept of dancing as part of your spiritual path. That's just one of many, many things I love about the law of one. Michael, anything to add? Any other thoughts?
Yeah, this one's good. I kind of want to meditate on it a little bit more, but I love the idea of the co-creating and the aspect of almost like no matter what, you have to dance your own dance. Even if you hear the music or not, like you still have to be yourself no matter what is going on around you. And yeah, now it makes me want to maybe host an ecstatic dance where there is no music, you know? Let's weird, you know? Let's just see what happens. You know?
I mean, might need some extra alcohol or weed for that.
Yeah, something. But yeah, it's just like, oh man, okay. Even if there's no music, you can't hear the music, you still got to dance somehow. Okay. Challenge accepted.
Yeah,
That's a cool
so
idea.
beautiful, isn't that? Yeah.
Well, you can play the song in your head, right? And you're
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of, yeah, I like that idea.
I think there's something very strongly magical about that for sure. Yeah, there's a song I really love by Jackson Browne called Dancer. It goes back quite a ways to the, I don't know, late 70s, early 80s. And I wish I could remember the lyrics and recite them here. But yeah, if you look it up on YouTube, The Dancer by Jackson Browne, it's a beautiful, I mean, it's obviously, as Jackson Browne songs are, beautifully written and a great metaphor for life being very much a dance, for sure. Oh, anyone else have any thoughts on anything here before we look at another passage? This is another one, and I think this is the last passage we're looking at. This is from May 21st, 1995, and Quo said, "As the sands of the sea, as the stars in your sky, just so infinite are the shining spirits which are embedded within this creation, who turn their glowing faces toward the Creator in praise and thanksgiving. At this time, many, many are those not incarnate in physical vehicles, flock within the inner planes of your globe. To those who ask for help, they flock by the millions to offer their candle power to heighten the inner light of those in need. Yours is third density. Ask for help, and help will be given you. Reach out the hand, and it will be full of invisible but real love. You are loved, not because you have achieved, but because you exist, a child of the infinite Creator. You are enfolded, snuggled by invisible nurturing arms. Every cell of your body is perfect. Your truth is that all is perfect. There is no striving necessary, for all is well. We are motes that dance in the sunlight, but we love you with our whole heart. Ask for help, serve each other, and the light generated shall be beautiful indeed. As you suffer, as you experience loss and limitation, all is well. Turn often to the perfection, to the integrity, and to the healing health of praise and thanksgiving within the present moment. For all that you see and know and do is done upon holy ground. That is the floor beneath the scenery. This would be a really good time to remind our viewers of what we said at the beginning, which is that all of these reading passages we're looking at came to us through the process of channeling. Everything that was not from Ra came through the process of conscious channeling. So whoever was saying these words out loud and having them written down and transcribed, they were only somewhat aware of what words were coming out of their mouth as they're saying them. It's like you when you're dreaming and you're halfway between the dream and the waking up part. That's kind of metaphorically where the channels are. So to see these words so beautiful and so profound, so many times they just bring me to tears. I have no idea where these entities are coming from, whether it's from another planet or in the inner planes. But yeah, that thing about motes in the sunlight is a really nice thing that I think deserves a visual. Motes just means like little particles. So if you've ever seen dust particles sparkling in the sunlight, that's what they're referring to. And what a beautiful thing to imagine that that's who Ra and Quo is in these entities. They're basically like little sparkling lights dancing in the sunlight, and that they're speaking to us. I mean, it's just like something out of a Disney movie, and it's so fucking beautiful. It's hard for a heart to contain it. But to know that it's real and it's not some made up movie thing, oh man, it just really gets me every time. Katrina, any thoughts on anything?
I mean, I just remember back in my, like I said, in that more evangelical Christian raising, much like with Law of One, they teach you that God is a father, right? But in my mind, that meant like, well, you can't bother, like you can't ask because the father's pretty busy all the time, right? So like,
I just got over work. Yeah.
right? Like it's so that it was that mindset of having to switch as I've gone through my spiritual journey, like this asking for help. It's like you're not being a burden. Like you're actually you're you're using your free will to get the help that they so desperately want to give. And so it's that reminder that they can't infringe on our free will without our help. So it's not, there's not a failure in me. There's not a failure in anyone asking for help. It's then it gives these other beings or other beings here on earth the opportunity to be able to help, which everyone enjoys, right? You like being able to help others that you love and care about. So these are entities that love and care about us that are just sitting there waiting, like twiddling their hands. We're not going to overwhelm them by asking, so we just should do it, right? So it's that reminder of doing it.
Such a beautiful thing. Really cannot be emphasized enough that help is there. But you do have to ask for it because they won't violate free will. And I have made a point of asking for it every day and giving thanks for it at the end of every day. And I have been doing that for a few years now. And I have found that it has made a really profound and beautiful difference in my life. So viewers, consider that if you haven't thought about it before. Michael, anything to add?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Asking for help for me is just like letting go of the arrogance and the pride. Like, yes, we are very, very powerful beings as quote unquote individuals. Everything's connected. We're not individuals at all. But at the same time, we are very, very powerful. But at the same time, it's like if you're trying to control all of reality, that's just leading you down a road of paranoia, and you don't want to go down that road. And I love the idea here of like perfection and seeing yourself as perfect, seeing as other people as perfect, because we're so quick to do that with nature. Like this tree is perfect, this squirrel is perfect, this blade of grass is perfect, but we're so quick to say we're not perfect, like we're not part of nature. We're like we're not part of this creation. Like yes, we are evolving and growing and becoming and learning more about ourselves, but at the same time, like that's still perfection in and of itself. So I think as humanity progresses, once we start seeing ourselves as perfect, we're going to get over a huge hurdle and stop saying we're not perfect. Oh, nobody's perfect. It's like, I think that's holding us back, actually.
Well, and it's easy to look at, let's just say, current events and be persuaded that all is not perfect.
Yeah.
That is not obvious that all is well and that all will be well. That's definitely not the message I'm getting from looking. But again, that's another part of the archetypical mind. Our apparently, according to Ra, the archetypical mind, our third density's incarnation is wired so that we always tend to notice the negative stuff before the positive stuff. Yeah. Beautiful reminder. Appreciate it. And we did do a podcast episode on all as well. So check it out if you want to see more passages on that. Anything to add, Sonia?
Yeah, that line in the middle, you are loved not because you have achieved, but because you exist, a child of the infinite creator. That one, I don't know, it just really hits me in the heart. And I think we're all American here, and there is something in our society about like your worth is connected with your productivity, and to just be told that you're loved to just existing, and that there's something very healing about it, and you're loved because of it. I mean, if we're all sparks of the creator, I mean, we are all perfect, right?
For sure. It's so easy to get caught up in the third density illusion and measure yourself or others by how well or not they seem to conform to what in third density service to self society is defined as successful. It's a hard thing to overcome, but it's certainly powerful when you do. Beautiful thoughts. Really appreciate having all three of you on. I knew this was going to be fun conversation, and it has been for sure. Does anybody have anything else to add before we leave this passage and start wrapping things up? Cool. So, where do we go from here? What are some good takeaway lessons that our viewers might have from this past hour and a half worth of discussion? I've got 5 for you to consider. 1, you and we are dancing thoughts. If you were not aware that the universe is more like a thought than a machine, and that we are all part of the one original thought of unconditional love, consider that. That can change the way you approach your daily life. Go with the flow. Dance with life, whatever that means to you. Everything can be a dance if you wish, including cleaning the toilet, including changing the diaper, including cleaning up whatever fucking mess, or including going to work, wherever you happen to be at work on any given moment, on any given day. Can be a dance if you make it that way. Join the dance, become the dance, and remember that dance itself is magic. I would say that's worth remembering. If you can remember any of those, I'd say that's pretty good. What do you think, Michael? Anything to add? Any takeaway lessons of your own you'd like to add?
Oh man, every time you do these when we wrap it up, it just feels like a mic drop moment for me. I'm just like, what more can I add? So, dude, yeah, you nailed it.
So appreciate your being here. You have so much to teach us all. Thank you so much for doing that. Sonia, anything to add?
That I'm grateful to be in this dance with you guys. To share it with you is really awesome and adds so much to life, and I'm grateful for you all.
Our conversation has been a dance of energies together. Really appreciate what everyone brought. Katrina, anything else to add?
No, I agree. I'm just so grateful for this dance and this conversation, and that we're all here doing this together, and grateful for the people that are going to get to listen to it, and hopefully they can go out and play and dance and have an amazing time. Know they're loved.
Loved indeed. On that note, I did want to let our viewers know that if you enjoyed this podcast episode, you might want to check out our episode on All Is Well in case you need a reminder that everything is okay, in spite of appearances to the contrary. And we did an episode not too long ago on the game of life, on how life is, in fact, very much like a video game. And once you understand how the game works, you can get better at it, you can have more fun with it. In the present moment, living in the present moment is indeed a big part of the dance of life, and there's some beautiful passages in this episode about that. We also did a beautiful episode on creators and co-creators, how indeed part of the dance of life is being part of the creation of the music and of the dance. Seniority Vibration, fun episode. Hasn't gotten that many views, but check it out. As you learn to improve your dance, that will improve your seniority of vibration, which will help you with your next incarnation. Because in case you didn't know it, whether or not you graduate from third density, you still got a lot more incarnations to come. And learning how to dance and watching this episode just may be helpful for you. We had an episode on balance, because so much about the dance of life is balancing the light and the dark, the heavy and the serious, the serious and the light. Which brings us to the last episode on laughter of the Law of One. Learning how to laugh has been mentioned a lot in Law of One channeling sessions. Big part of our spiritual dance and our spiritual growth. And Sonia was a panelist on that episode too. So that makes it alone well worth sharing. Otherwise, of course, panelists, we're not done yet. Let's see how much you've learned on your pop quiz. Since today's episode was about the dance, it seems only fitting that we should have a pop quiz on dance in the movies, and specifically these three movies. Panelists, for our viewers, have you seen any or all of these movies?
I've seen Footloose and Pulp Fiction.
Yeah,
I have not
same.
seen You've Got
I
Served.
think maybe I've seen You Got Served, but I don't remember a lot of it. But definitely Footloose and Pulp Fiction.
Nice. Sonia?
I've seen them all, and I've seen Pulp Fiction the most.
Nice.
Nice.
Many times.
If I only pick movies that I've seen for pop quizzes, we wouldn't have very many pop quizzes. I have not, in fact, seen Footloose or You Got Served, but I have seen Pulp Fiction more than a few times. And hopefully those of you who have watched it know why this is in the dance episode. Otherwise, panelists, I'm going to ask you three questions about these three movies, see how many you can answer correctly. Say your answers out loud so our viewers can hear. You who are watching this on video, say your answers out loud so we can hear you through time space. You guys ready for your first question? First question. True or false? Footloose is based on a true story. What do you think, panelists? Say your answers out loud.
True.
True.
I'll say false.
Nice. I assumed it was false. Apparently, it is true. And the city was Elmore City, Oklahoma. They had forbidden public dancing by law since the founding of the city. But in January 1979, apparently a group of local high schoolers asked that the rules be changed so that they could have a prom. And apparently this pissed off the Reverend from the church, Towns United Pentecostal Church, since as we all know, dancing is of the devil. Such a great movie, and I believe it has been referenced in many Marvel movies recently in the Guardians of the Galaxy. You guys have any special thoughts or memories of Footloose? I have not seen the movie, but I've seen some video clips from it.
Yeah, it's crazy that in churches or more quote unquote traditional churches that dancing is looked upon as like the devil. But it's just like even David in like the Old Testament, it was just like dancing before the Lord and just like ecstatically dancing before the Lord. And
naked, as I recall.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just like, whoa, I don't get it. So I don't know.
Well, this would be not the first time that conservative Christians have been accused of being hypocritical.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I don't get it.
Anyone else have any special memories of seeing Footloose or anything?
I remember falling and almost breaking my nose trying to do the slide.
Nice.
Where you come in, tried so many times. Just, yeah.
Is iconic.
Yeah.
Is iconic for sure. Yeah, if I remember correctly, the actors in there were not particularly trained dancers either, so it was a big challenge for them. And I think they made a sequel or something where they did actually bring in more professional dancers to make the movie, and nobody saw it. So I guess that tells you everything you need to know. Are you ready for your second question? Yeah. Speaking of movies that probably nobody's seen, you Got Served. I wanted a movie about breakdancing because I love breakdancing. It is a beautiful, beautiful expression of the dance of life for sure. But I have not seen this movie, and I'm guessing not that many people have. But who was originally supposed to star in it, if it was true, you probably would have seen. Was it A, Aaliyah, B, Beyonce, or C, Ciara?
Ooh, I'll go with Aaliyah. That would have been cool.
Nice. She's a
Uh,
hottie.
I'll go with Beyonce.
Nice.
I'm gonna go
What do
with
you think,
Aaliyah.
Sonia?
I like her music the most, so
Who?
I'm gonna go with Aaliyah because I don't know.
Nice. Yeah, big fan. Really great person, Aaliyah. And that is correct. Apparently, the movie was originally conceived for Aaliyah and Genuine to star in before Aaliyah's tragic death in an airplane in 2001 led to its retooling with Marcus Houston and Omarion, both members of popular R&B boy bands, apparently, at that time to star in. But yeah, it definitely would have been different if any of those three were in it. I'm sure it would be a different movie. And yeah, love Aaliyah. Really enjoyed seeing her in Romeo Must Die, the movie that she did with Jet Li. It's like that was nice. That's probably not a pairing one would normally think of, but I think they made it work partly because she had a real chemistry, a real energy, a real magic about her for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Voice of an angel.
Yeah, she just seemed like a very radiant being for sure. And I'm sure her relatively short time span was just that's the best way she could plan that incarnation to be able to do that much in the short time we had. So beautiful story for sure.
I think it's, I
Tiara, of
watched
course.
the documentary about Selena last night on Netflix. And man, she had so much presence too. And just what was so fun about watching her is just like she would just lose herself in the dance and make it so fun. It was just like joy, like exuding from this person. So yeah, another one that was yeah, short lifespan, but did so much in that time.
Yeah, and from a loved one perspective, I think we can look at it a little bit differently now and not see it so much as a tragic person ending their life shorter than it should have been. But no, living the life as they designed it to be.
Yeah.
Big fan of Beyonce. I was reminded when we were in quarantine and I was teaching high school biology on Zoom, and I would try to find music videos to share with students to give them a little bit of hope and encouragement in what seemed like a really hopeless time. Don't know if you guys remember, but Beyonce was part of the Super Bowl halftime show for Super Bowl 50, and it was Coldplay that headlined it. But as they often do, they kind of segued from Coldplay to Bruno Mars and then to Beyonce. And it was shortly after her Lemonade album had dropped, and the song Formation was part of the show. And super beautiful, super powerful. If you just look it up on YouTube, it's just a really inspiring show that really gave people this beautiful manifestation of love and getting over some of the racial boundaries that we seem to be having a hard time with. Well, it's been 3 hours since we started. We could probably go ahead and look at the third question on the pop quiz. How about this one? For Pulp Fiction fans, true or false, director Quentin Tarantino choreographed the dance scene with Uma Thurman and John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. What do you think?
I'll say false.
I'm gonna go with false too.
I'm gonna say true. I feel like I read that, but now I'm second guessing myself, but that's okay.
That is exactly how I write pop quiz questions. I'm trying to get you to second guess yourself. Is that your final answer, Katrina?
True, yes.
For the Akashic record. Sounds good. Probably the best answer, I believe, would be false. I had to do a bit of research on this, and for folks who haven't seen it, Pulp Fiction is not what we would call a dance movie, like along the lines of Footloose or Flashdance. It's mainly a gritty, violent movie about gangsters, but there is one really iconic scene with John Travolta and Uma Thurman in it doing a dance that anyone who's seen the movie knows what I'm talking about. And apparently Tarantino did not choreograph it. He did actually have a couple movie references he had in mind that were inspired. One was from a French movie called Band Apart, which came out in 1964, which was part of what at that time was referred to as New Age cinema. And apparently he was also inspired by the Disney cartoon The Aristocats, and urged Uma Thurman to model her dance after the lady cat in that movie. And you might have to YouTube it if you don't know what I'm talking about. But there is a great dance scene in it for sure. But other than that, he apparently didn't give them any real specifics, and so that dance was pretty much improvised and made up by Uma Thurman and John Travolta. Uma apparently was terrified because she did not consider herself at all a dancer. And John Travolta, of course, was known to be a great dancer who had roles in Saturday Night Fever and Grease and everything. So she was super intimidated, but you got to say the moves she came up with, it was beautiful. It was just a really great scene. Totally, Katrina. Do that for the viewers. Our viewers did not see what you just did. You got to speak and say it at the same time. The old whatever the fuck that thing is called, yeah, and the old mashed potato or whatever the fuck that's called, yeah. It's a great movie. Have you guys seen Pulp Fiction? Anybody? Everybody?
Oh, many times. Love it.
Let the Akashic Records show all three panelists today are shitty people. Because that is a violent movie. That is so violent for the law of one. But,
It really is.
God, it was such a great movie. Yeah, for sure.
The dialogue in that one is very unique.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I saw a recent interview with Tarantino where somebody asked him, like, how do you come up with such snappy dialogue? Because that is certainly one of the big things that really sets him apart. And he said he just has the characters in his head and he's just writing down what the characters tell him. So he's basically taking dictation from the characters in the movie, which is a really super cool thing to contemplate and think about.
Almost like he's creating entities and then channeling those entities, you know? His head. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, very much so, which is a beautiful thing. Yeah. Panelists, thank you so much for being here. As always, it's been such a joy and a privilege, and just had a blast hanging out with you. Thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. To all our friends at L&L Research, thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. To you who are watching this on video at some time in the near or maybe very distant future, thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. We are sending you our love light, and we are receiving yours. Until next time, in the love and light of the one infinite creator, Adonai, Namaste. Say goodbye, panelists.
Bye.
Much love and light to you all.
Yeah. See y'all next time.